Welcome. You are tuned into Community Corner, and my name is David DeWitt Taylor.
Hello, my name is Aaron County Castle.
And I am Anthony Termina, replacing Ryan Gray, who is again not here this week.
Happy New Year, everybody. Hello, everyone. You are tuned to Community Corner. Today, we welcome our friends, Jeff and Jennifer, along with Jeff's dad, Rob. We have known them for years from our large friendship circle where we bowl, attend dances, enjoy movie night out, and go to Diners Club. Jeff and Jen began as friends, and as time went on, they become closer. Today we will learn how they began to build a life together, overcoming emotional challenges, as well as financial and bureaucratic obstacles. We will enjoy hearing their story and rejoice in how they came to realize an everlasting day. Life not so different from any other. But Rob, the floor is all yours.
Well, thank you, David, and thank you, everybody, for having us here. As David said, this is certainly a story of Jeffrey's and Jennifer's life and how they came together. But perhaps just as important, this is a story that is relevant to every parent of a special needs child. 36 years ago when Jeffrey was born and we found out that he had Down syndrome, we knew that our lives were going to be changed forever, and in so many different ways. But it wasn't until we moved from New Jersey out here to Michigan and Jeffrey became involved with the Rochester Avon Recreation Authority that I began to focus not so much upon how my life had changed, but really upon how it was important for me to put Jeffrey in the best possible position to succeed after I was gone. In looking at the 40 or 50 other parents of children of various ages with various disabilities, I began to think how this was so important for all of us to address, and how I was so fortunate to have a set of circumstances that enabled me to give to Jeffrey and then eventually to Jennifer a life that is quite rich and complete. And those factors included the fact that I was an only child. My mother was someone who owned a condo in Waterford and was able to commit to us that condo after she was no longer with us. And so that's really where the story began, with Jeffrey taking over the condo after my mother had passed away about 5 years ago, and how he really began to live independently. And then, of course, Jennifer, who he had been friends with for so many years at Rah-Rah, they seemed to have a very comfortable companionship. And Jennifer, who was born and then mostly raised by her grandmother, had expressed a desire to possibly move in with Jennifer. So it was first having Jeffrey show us that he can live independently, not just to show his mom and dad that he could live independently, but also to show Jennifer's grandmother that he could live independently, because it would only be then that Jennifer would be able to attempt to share the condo with Jeffrey and see if she felt good living comfortably. So fast forward to 5 years from that date in 2011, and the two of them now are sharing a life together. And I suspect that many of the questions that you folks will have today deal with the specifics of what that life is like, some of the challenges that they've been able to meet and overcome. It's not always been full speed ahead. There have been some setbacks and then steps forward. And so I'm going to turn it back over to you folks to ask some of those questions. And if there's a need for me to elaborate, I'll certainly be willing to step in and do that.
Cool. Now, Jen, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Rochester Hills.
What school did you attend? And did the school have a program for children with disabilities?
Yes, I went to school at Wings, and it was a disability school. And I graduated from there in 1999. And then I went to another school named Adams High School.
What schooling did you have? And what brought you to Michigan?
My schooling was based out of the northwest corner of New Jersey.
Okay.
I first began in Stillwater Elementary School in Sussex County, New Jersey, and then up to Glen Meadow Middle in Vernon Township, New Jersey, and then finished my education at High Point Regional High School before I moved out here.
Cool.
How did you two meet?
I can answer that. We met through the Rochester Avon Recreational Authority and through the Taylor family, who we thank very much.
Yeah, essentially, Jennifer lived with her grandmother, and the route that we took to a lot of the Rochester Avon Recreation Authority events passed right by Jennifer's block. So as a favor to her grandmother, I would do pick up and drop off, and Jeffrey and Jennifer would share the back seat, and they never ran out of things to talk about, and then they'd always be on the phone together, and it seemed that the friendship grew from there. And for people who always had something to say to each other, I thought to myself at a fairly early stage, gee, maybe there's something more to this than meets the eye.
When did you first think about sharing a life with a partner?
When I moved out of my grandma's, I wanted to move in the condo and share a life with Jeffrey.
Could you describe some of this? Could you describe some of the social, mental, and legal government, and legal government limitations?
Yeah, I think the best way to characterize that is that there are a range of regulations that govern really households of special needs individuals. First, the Department of Health and Human Services provides bridge cards, which gives you so much money per month for food. And so Jeffrey had a bridge card. Jennifer and Jennifer's grandmother wasn't even aware of the existence of bridge cards. So when it seemed that Jennifer and Jeffrey might share a household together, I tried to introduce Betty, Jennifer's grandmother, and Jennifer to a range of services, from the bridge card to expert care, which provides some community living support for Jennifer. Of course, there were a lot of obstacles. So, for example, you can only earn so much money in a job and your bridge card funds get reduced by a fraction of the money that you earn. So that presented a limitation on the two of them. Then there was a question of how do you define a household? Were they two individuals living under one roof and two households, or were they one household? So for example, marriage is out of the question under certain rules and regulations because they would lose almost half of the benefits they now receive. So while they are living together and doing all of the things that you would expect a couple to do as members of a household, marriage really has remained economically not feasible. So those are some of the things that that present obstacles, but I think they manage fairly well given that.
What kind of home are you living in? I know you talked about wanting to live in a condo. Did you move into the home together, and was there a transition process?
I would say yes, it was a transition process. I began living in the condo in 2012.
Okay.
Jennifer began in 2014 in the spring. So it would take a little bit of time to go through that transition. It takes me to live independently and to show my parents and my significant other's grandmother to live independently before that transition even started.
Okay.
So that's how that went about.
Point well taken.
Would the two of you willing to describe a typical week in your lives?
Yeah, tell David about what you do at New Horizons and what a week looks like in your life.
All right. Well, David, I work at New Horizons, and I have to get up Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 a.m. I have to be at New Horizons at 8:30 until 3. What I do there is I go to the church and clean up and help the older people. And then maybe another day I will go to like a thrift store and do like CDs, organize the CDs, organize the books, and certain things.
Why don't you tell them about the soup kitchen, the food banks?
Oh, and I do the soup kitchens and the food banks. What I do is I will, one time I had to feed them tomato soup and turkey sandwiches.
My question is Monday through Sunday. What do you on Tuesdays?
Yeah, so other days of the week, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well, Tuesdays and Thursdays I have Chanel, my caregiver. Sometimes Saturdays, Dad will pick us up and take us to maybe a movie and bowling, sometimes lunch.
What are some of the services that Chanel helps you with?
Chanel helps me with cooking. She will teach me how to do the computer, like a laptop computer. She takes me grocery shopping. Can you think of anything else, Dad?
Ironing?
Oh, ironing. She'll teach me how to iron. Oh.
Planet Fitness?
She'll take me to Planet Fitness to work out.
Yeah, Jeffrey, why don't you talk a little bit about the shopping and diet and exercise menu, for meals, things like that.
I go to Planet Fitness as well to work out. And in terms of a menu and diet standpoint, like Mondays and Fridays are TV dinners. Tuesdays is chicken. Thursdays is pasta. And from a health standpoint, we read labels at Kroger to see what's the healthiest kind versus what's not.
Cool.
I'll keep that in mind. Thanks.
Again, I was asking if you had any advice for those special needs that want to live a more independent life someday.
What they would have to do is they would call on their support team, and they would get hold of Macomb Oakland Regional Center, where they would provide with a support coordinator, and they would also send out hours of authorization, and those hours of authorizations go to expert care management services, and when expert care does is they search for CLS staff to help them gain independent living.
Cool.
Clearly, it's very, very clear you guys have come a long way into building a life together. But do you guys have each individual goals?
Yes, we do.
And please explain.
Well, with my goals, I have dinner. I make dinners. I dust. I vacuum. I'm drawing a blank.
Do you have any long-term goals in terms of what you want to do in the community? For example, you've been working at New Horizons for a short period of time. How much benefit have you derived, and what kind of feeling do you have when you provide the services you do to the church and people that are less fortunate? Has that given you any ideas about what you'd like to do in the future?
It has. Sometimes I would maybe want to help the homeless more.
That's good.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you call your commitment ceremony.
Basically, we did come a very long way. It's been fun living with a female partner. Jennifer has been there for me. I've been there for her. It was a wonderful evening. All of our close friends, family, and everybody was there to help celebrate the story of our story, and we just love the people that we are close to. And all starts with family and friends.
Yeah, we as parents of Jeffrey and Betty, we include Betty, Jennifer's grandmother, we felt badly that because of the financial rules that govern special needs adults, that they couldn't legally get married without having some severe economic consequences. So what we did was we tried to give them all of the trappings of a reception that would follow a formal wedding ceremony. So for those of you and David and Aaron being part of the ceremony or the reception, we had a band there and we had dinner, dancing, a cake, all of the things that you would see at a reception. And following that reception, Kim, my wife, and I took Jeffrey and Jennifer to New York, where we spent 5 days for a honeymoon of sorts. So that really was about as close as we could get to, what other folks experience when they make a commitment to share a life under the same roof. So we were happy with that, and course, travel is a big part of our lives now. I try to expose both Jeffrey and Jennifer to a lot of different places. We've been to St. Louis, we've been to Chicago, New York, up to Toronto, down to Virginia and Georgia. We have family all over the country, so we've visited them, and we've gotten to see some interesting parts of the country: the Mississippi River, the St. Louis Arch, the Empire State Building. All part of trying to expose them to as much as possible.
I have a personal question before we close our show. Got any backup people to help you if you are injured?
Are there any? Well, my wife still works. So I took early retirement at the age of 62. I'm 64 now, but I was able to afford to take early retirement, which gives me a lot of flexibility in terms of helping them with transportation. They both have CLS managers, and so expert care is available for a certain number of hours. So that is backup. Jeffrey has a younger brother, David, who lives in northern Kentucky. He isn't backup, but is certainly part of the family, and would certainly have the wherewithal to help if I were suddenly incapacitated.
Do each of you have household responsibilities?
Yes, we do. So my household is I dust, I vacuum, cooking dinner. Can't think of what else.
Well, there's laundry to do.
I do laundry. Wow. Drawing a blank here. Jeffrey.
She irons.
I iron.
Okay.
So, Chef, what kind of responsibilities do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
I do the same: cooking, cleaning, sweeping up, making sure the condo's in a safe environment. I want to maintain a good health and diet so that I can avoid being diabetic,
Cool.
and just wanted to maintain a healthy standpoint so that way I can be around for Jennifer, who I love very much.
Oh, that's sweet.
Next minutes, guys.
Today, Jeff and Jennifer have offered great insight into some of the challenges they face in building a life together. In doing so, they have taught us the value of being both patient and persistent in pursuing their goals while understanding that disabilities may make things a bit more difficult, but certainly do not mean that they're not achievable. All right. Yeah. You are watching ONTV and CMN Public Access. Have a great night, and see you soon.
Thanks for
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, David.